Hello everyone. Today's question is, can you paint everything using just one basic brush? And the obvious answer is yes. It is possible to paint everything using just a single brush. So if you are confused about what brushes you need to paint, honestly, this one brush can do the job perfectly. The brush I have used for today's painting is Deep Pen Soft. It is a basic round brush with kind of a hard edge, and that can be fixed by decreasing the brush opacity. So as you can see, I have started with the subject itself. The brush opacity is medium to low because it helps blending the color properly. While painting, I had to keep in mind about the light source, as I wanted to create the backlight effect myself. So I painted in a way where I would not need help of multiply or add blending modes. To do this, you have to plan everything out from the very beginning. As in, you have to apply the darker and lighter color from the starting of your painting. Usually, when you add the effect by the help of blending modes, then this backlight is just a post-production work. But here, you have to be careful from the moment you start painting. I'm sure you can tell that the light is coming from the right side. So the sharp and the bright highlights will be at that side. Gradually the intensity of the light will be lower, and obviously the bottom left part is going to be the darkest. As I'm not going to use multiply layer to darken the colors, I have started with the colors which are darker than usual already. Warm colors are being used here because it's a sunset scene and it has the beautiful autumn feeling to it. We all know and love those rich, warm colors of autumn. So I felt like this is the perfect time for this artwork. Painting the hair was fun and tricky at the same time. It wasn't working the similar way usually the hair brushes do, but you can still tell that it's hair. There used to be a time when I hated this brush because in my eyes, it did not blend that well. But after giving it a proper try, I realized that I was wrong and the blending works just fine. It's just I didn't know the perfect way to do it. If you ask me which brush I used for making the line art, that would be Genius pen, which is different from the pen that I have used for the entire painting. Now again, if you ask me if you wanted to use this Deep Pen Soft brush for line art, would it be possible? I would say yes. It is also possible to make line art using the same brush that I have used for painting. So why didn't I use it in this case? Because when I started the line art, I didn't have this idea that I'm going to make this painting using a single brush. It just happened randomly. So I didn't just feel like doing the line art all over again and just started from the painting. it's time to start working on the background. The bottom part is obviously going to be darker than the top. Gradually, it's going to be lighter, and the more lighter the color becomes, the less saturated it's going to be. Now I'm going to tell you about the secret behind creating glowing effect. And that is using a really saturated color in the intermediate zone between really bright highlight and the mid-tone. And the color you are going to use is saturated light orange, because it gives that lovely glowing effect in between super light yellow and reddish or brownish colors. So this is very important, and you need to keep it in mind if you organically want to make the glow effect. This is exactly what happens when you use the add blending mode. The saturated orange light in between the two parts makes it look really glowy. We will make this effect even more prominent, but I will tell you how in the latter part of the progress. You might have a big question. Why do I need to create this backlight from scratch when it's easier to just use the tool? Well, honestly, if you want to choose the easy way, that's absolutely fine. Most of the time I am also using the tools, but it's very satisfying to be able to create that same effect all by myself. It feels like a great achievement. Also, all the traditional artists out there actually create those glowing effects and highlights all by themselves. So in this way, it can give you a taste of the traditional way of painting. And if you are confident, you should try this on single layer and see what happens. So I hope that answers your question. To make the backlight look natural, we also need to show the soft lights, which are not really concentrated and bright, but just coming through the gaps of the subject. To do that, I have taken a new layer on top of the subject and used a light yellow color. But the thing is, it's not going to look smooth because it's not an airbrush. So, to solve that problem, we can just use the Gaussian blur or lens blur tool. In this similar way, I have applied the light on the other areas as well. Most of the important works are done. Now all that is left is to blend the colors. And of course, add some fine details to it. For blending, I have not used any mixer brush. I did it just by changing the brush opacity and the intermediate zone color picking method. If you are wondering what am I talking about, you can try watching the full tutorial about blending, which you can find on the card above. So enjoy the blending process. I'll get back to you later. I have said this before and I'll say it again that I suck at painting flowers. So I did this blob of colors which are supposed to be sunflower and then blurred them out to save myself from embarrassment. I still have a long way to go. So we are done with the painting process, and this is how all the layers look like. As you can see, I have not used any special blending mode to create the effects. Let me give you a closer look. And if I didn't tell you beforehand, I don't think you would be able to tell if I used add blending mode or not. This is the same artwork, but this time add mode was used. Can you really spot a big difference? I don't think so. Like I told you before, it's not like you have to do it this way, but sometimes challenging yourself helps you grow. So I would suggest you to try this yourself and see if it works. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care.